My name is Victor. I'm producing music as Module 1. I'm a DJ, producer, and live act. Originally, I'm coming from Russia, but right now I live in Berlin for 3 years, and I'm mainly known for doing house and techno music. Oh my goodness, I've come in from a family with a good background in music, so I've always listened to some very good records from my parents, and I was thinking about how this music was made, because from the childhood I was that kind of sensitive child who was able to cry because of hearing some beautiful music, and this was the main influence. So basically hearing a lot of beautiful music and wanting to be a part of it basically became my main stimulus to become a musician. And also I find that I have a lot of freedom with doing this, and it's also my greatest tool to fight depression and to fight hard times. Well, that's a good question. I didn't have to on purpose give up anything, but if we're talking of some little sacrifices, as I've been a musician in Russia for quite a long time, the biggest sacrifice was safety, because there is some unstable political situation going on in Russia, and that's why we had so many parties that were shut down by police, and I've been laying down on the floor with my face turned down to the floor many times, and I've been quite shocked and terrorized by the way the police is holding the parties, and some of my friends got detained by police for no reason. So that was like a risky thing to be an electronic musician. Even though you are not doing drugs, you are not an alcoholic, whatever, you are not having any aggressive sort of behavior, but yeah, it's dangerous. And my biggest sacrifice right now is probably the lack of sleep, which is a good sacrifice in comparison to what I had before that. I guess the biggest thing about ups and downs that keeps you entertained. But the biggest ups are, of course, upcoming releases. I'm really looking forward to each one of my new releases, even though this year I don't have anything scheduled so far, because I'm taking a little break from trying to be productive in terms of releases, and I'm trying to prepare my LP, which is like one of my biggest things I'm working on for the last 3 years, and I guess that's the main focus. And as for downs, sometimes it's the feeling of we all have that problem where we are probably still hoping to sell records and do something the old school way, but streamings are becoming more important, and Instagram. And one of the biggest downs is like always trying to be on the spot, always trying to be, just to be present. That's the hard point of it. Hopefully in Berlin. It's very important for me to stay here because I love this city, and I'm having quite a lot of inspiration coming from the city. And where I see myself, I see that in 5 years I will definitely be able to finish my album, the third album, which I'm working on the longest. And after that, if I manage to release it the way I want it, with a strong artistic concept I'm working on with my friends who are doing 3D graphics, and with some cool live show that I'm starting to work on, because for me it would be important to release an album and become a live act, because I would still move my focus a little bit out from DJing, because I've been DJing for 12, 13 years, having club residencies, playing some festivals, some parties and stuff like this. But right now for me it's more interesting to try something new and play more live sets and play instruments and do something more for listening, like concert-based kind of live acts rather than club parties. I'm usually working on a track from 30 minutes, if it's a beat kind of thing, or a house track, a tool track, to half a year or a year. Because usually my workflow is the following: I'm doing some sketch which has a cool idea, and if I understand that for some reason, if I continue working on this and usually I'm working on music at night, that I can, destroy it quickly, because sometimes you have this cool thing, but working on this too much could really spoil the whole track. Sometimes I can leave the post-production, the mastering, mixing, and the arrangement even sometimes to the next day or next week or next month, depending on that. But I guess the quickest was 30 minutes, and the longest I worked on track was 1 year. Thinking that basically you don't need that much to get inspired. You don't need that much. Basically just living, communicating, interacting with people. I guess the biggest inspiration comes from people and from the events in my life. From the city I live in and from the other music I hear. So basically I'm that kind of person who's still really inspired, by everything I see around. Like I was coming here and I took a picture of Berlin skyline because it was just looking good to me, and that's how easily I try to see good things around, and paying attention to what's there. But people, and if I take my music into consideration, it's highly inspired by the events in my life, and sometimes the music I record for my LPs, it's more like a diary of some events of my life, like some memoir in a way. So that's I guess how I focus on music. With different things I do, like for living, like design and stuff like this, it's a bit different. But in music, I try to just see the good things around.